The first thing you want to do is choose a design. For best results, your design should be slightly shorter than the candle. As you can see on this one, there is a gap at the top and bottom. And at least for your first few, it should not wrap all the way around the candle. That does take a little bit of practice, but it is possible. The next thing you want to do is get your design onto your tissue paper. You can do this by stamping it. You can do this by printing it. There are a few different ways to print on a tissue paper. The way that I did it is I taped a piece of tissue paper onto a piece of printer paper and then ran the whole thing through my inkjet printer. It does have to be an inkjet printer. If you have one of those printers that uses toner, usually seen in the workplace, it will not work because toner printers use an entirely different method to get the image onto the paper. You can write. I have provided an alphabet in the patterns available in the kit. I found that tracing my alphabet, this is serifed and this is sans serif, that's why there's two of them. I found that tracing my alphabet gave me a little bit more consistency, helped me space stuff out, because I could type it up and then just trace my typing. Or you can draw freehand. You don't have to trace out of anything. When you do trace your design, you want to use something like a Sharpie. A Crayola marker will not work. It is water-based and will just tear the tissue paper. So you want to use something alcohol-based. So all of these designs have been sized for the size of candle included in the kit. This right here is a space where you can make your own design and then trace it onto the tissue paper if you so choose. So this is the appropriate height. I'm going to trace one of these cats. This is a bigger design, but I'm just going to take, I think, this cat up here, and I am going to trace my design onto my tissue paper. Alright, so my marker is a bit dried out, but it'll work for this demonstration. The next thing you want to do once you have your design is trim closely around the edges of your design. So I'm going to give myself a tiny little margin. Oops. And there's my design all trimmed out. So the next thing you do is take your candle, put your design on your candle facing out. So this is the side of the tissue paper that I drew on. All right, I don't want it backwards, I want it forwards. This is also if you use anything with words, the words will also be facing out. So you have your tissue paper design on your candle. You want to cover that design with some wax paper. Any wax paper will work. The waxier the better though. So in your kit you will have a strip of wax paper. You do not need to use the whole thing. You can cut off a piece. You just want to make sure that your wax paper overlaps your design by a fair bit. All right, and then what you do is you can either use a large piece of wax paper and hold it on just with your hand. So I'm smoothing out my wax paper along my candle and holding it so that this part here where the design is nice and taut. Or you can put tape far away from the edges of your design. You want to do this because the next step is going to be applying heat. we are essentially going to use the wax of the wax paper and the wax of the candle to melt and fuse the tissue paper into the candle. So if your tape is too close, it will actually burn a little, not burn, but it'll make a little indent in the shape of the tape in the candle. So you tape it down and you run it over with your hair dryer on the hottest, highest setting. I do recommend using an oven mitt or a towel to protect your hand, and you will see the lines where you have the marker kind of glisten and brighten or sharpen. You will also be able to see the edges where you trimmed around. You can't really see it on camera, but in person you can see the very edges of the tissue paper outside of your design, and you will see those disappear into the candle. Make sure you get the middle as well. I did this side of the candle the other day, and you can kind of see how I didn't get the middle as much, and it is a little crinkly, but I can run my finger along all the edges where the edges of the tissue paper used to be, and I cannot feel them. My design is fully sealed into the candle. And in fact, right here, if I can get the light on it, you can see right here the edge of the tape. So once you have blasted it with the hairdryer, you want to let it cool just a little before you start rubbing it. That way the wax has a chance to solidify again.